How y'all doing? How's everybody doing this Friday afternoon, Friday evening? Coach Carvel Bailey here. Hope your day is going amazing. Hope it was outstanding thus far. Listen, today we are going into another pivotal basketball game, another pivotal game in the world of basketball. And so what I want to talk about, and this is an oldie but goodie, I actually did this during high school championship season, during the state finals of the championship, but it's so like no-brainer. I wanted to do it again for the NCAA as well as the NBA championship. And it's basically like five things to look for in a championship team, like five things that all championship teams do. And so the team that does this tonight will win. The team that does these 5 things will win. Now listen, if you haven't had a chance to go check out my YouTube page, go to my YouTube page, Coach Carvel Bailey. The first three people that subscribe to my YouTube page, I'm gonna send you a digital copy of chapter 1 of my book. The first 3 people that like my Instagram as well as my Facebook fan page, all Coach Carvel Bailey, I send you digitally the first chapter of my book. So YouTube, Instagram, as well as Facebook, Coach Carvel Bailey. Go like and follow those pages, and the first 3 people on each one. So I may send out 9 different, 9 different to 9 different people copies of the first chapter of my book. So let me get into it. The 5 things that I want you to look for in either team tonight. The team that does this is the team that is going to win. The team that does this is the team that's going to win head over heels. All right. The first thing that you want to look for, is you want to look at the team's eyes. You want to look at the team's eyes during pregame, when they back in the tunnel, getting ready. You want to be able to look at their eyes. Someone told me a long time ago, you can look at a man's eyes and see his soul. You can tell if a team is ready to play or not by the look on their eyes. Are they focused? Do they have that like stone face, that game face? And then you can also look in the team eyes and tell if they nervous, if they scared, if they worried, if they, like people said that Klay Thomas didn't say anything the other day, but you can look at Klay Thompson's eyes and see how he felt. You can see how he felt. Alan McGaha, that's the man right there. That's the man, Alan McGaha. That's the one told me you can look at a man's eyes and see his soul. I always use it so much. Now y'all know who told me that, and that comes from a good book that I know, that we all know. But anyway, you can look at their eyes. That's the first thing to look for in either team tonight, to tell if they scared, tell if they ready to play. The second thing that you want to look for is their energy. Again, even in pregame, you want to see, are they bouncy? You want to see how they just dragging around. You want to see, are they really, into the game with that feeling? Do they have that feeling? Are they, loose? Basically, tight teams generally don't win. So, but teams that have good energy, that are loose, feeling the flow of the game. See, it's a difference, and it's the speed of the game, and then there's the flow of the game. As great players, you have to be able to know the difference in the two, right? Good players may know how to play. Okay players know how to play at one speed. Good players know how to play at different speeds. All right, great players understand that there's a speed to the game and then there's a flow to the game. 2 totally different things. But part of that flow is that energy. So the second thing to look for is the energy. First thing is look in their eyes. The second thing, let's look for the energy that they have. All right, now this is where it gets tricky, but this is where it gets fun. Because it's the same way in high school as well as the NBA, but it's not like this in college. In college, you only do it twice. But in the NBA, we want to see who win the most quarters. See, it's 4 quarters in the NBA. So can you close out quarters well? let's see which teams close out quarters. And what I mean by closing out a quarter is the way that you win a quarter is if you get a point advantage at the end of the quarter, or if you get a big stop. So you can get you can win a quarter on both sides of the ball. Most people just think, if we scored at the end and they didn't score, then it's fine. But let's see who win the most quarters. You can't win 1 out of 4 quarters and win the game. That don't generally teams that win, and championship teams, they understand and they break games down by quarters and even in minutes. So you have to understand that the team that wins the most quarters today, pay attention to it. Like, who scores last in that quarter? Who leaves going back to their bench at the end of the quarter with the momentum? That's what I mean by winning the quarter. That's what I mean by winning the quarter. Yeah, you can score, but if you come back down and you give up a 3, you ain't won the quarter. Or if you hit a 3 and then you come back down, the other team score and then they get fouled and there's an and one. Like, you didn't win that quarter. You didn't get a stop. The team that scored, right, they won that quarter. So that's the third thing to pay attention to. Who wins the most quarters tonight? So the first thing we're looking at is their eyes. The second thing we're looking at is their energy. The third thing we're looking at is how many quarters did they win in the game. Now the fourth thing is defensive efficiency. Otherwise, can you guard somebody? All right. Doing my research, I say in this series, talking about the NBA Finals, and I'm going to date myself. I don't want to do this. But with this game tonight, when you're talking about the Toronto Raptors and the Golden State Warriors, Toronto is averaging 104 points that they're holding Golden State to, averaging 104. Meanwhile, Golden State is averaging holding Toronto to 111. Now, who would think that somebody would outscore Golden State like that? That's a 7-point disparity. But so I say the team that can hold the other team under that 104 will win. But if we not dating ourselves and talking about that game, even just in general basketball, defensive efficiency, who can get stops and who can get stops when stops are needed, that's what counts. And so in a high school game, I say, like, if you hold a team under 45 points, you should win, 45 to 50 points. In the college game, 60 points, definitely 65, you'll win. NBA, on a regular, like the way that the Pistons used to do, 80 points. But nowadays, with everybody shooting the long ball, I say really 90, like 94 points. You can hold a team under 94 points, but in this series, I'm going to go 10 points more and say 104. If you can hold a team under 104, that team is going to win the NBA Finals this year. All right, so let's look at their eyes. Let's look at their energy. Who can win the most quarters? And then we're looking at defensive efficiency. And now the fifth thing is big. The fifth thing is huge. I want you to pay attention to this tonight. Even if you only pay attention to it just in spurts of different minutes, because you really got to pay attention to it like from that lens. Paint touches. Who can get the most paint touches? And I'm not saying who can score the most in the paint, but who can get the most paint touches? Who can get that ball inside the paint? Because once you get that ball inside the paint, even if you kick it out to the shooters, once the defense collapses, you're going to kick it out to the shooters. That breaks the defense down. If you get in the paint and they don't help, you got the floater, the teardrop, whatever you want to call it, the jelly roll, the ice Gervin, butter roll, whatever you want to call it, you can finish. So getting the ball in the paint breaks the defense down. Now, you got like step ups and dump offs and those type of things, because the defense now has to collapse once you get it in the paint. And then if you get in the paint enough times, you're going to convert on some of those, because again, the defense has to adjust when you get that ball in the paint. That's why most coaches teach get the ball out the middle, because they understand that concept. If the ball gets in the middle, it breaks the defense down. So let's look at who gets the most paint touches. All right, so the 5 things, the 5 keys that all championship teams do and do consistently. 5 things that all championship teams do and do consistently, and the team that does this tonight will definitely win the game tonight and probably go on to win the championship, because this is a pivotal game. They can go up 3-1, or they can tie the game 2-2 and get huge momentum going back on the road Golden State can. Okay, so you want to look at their eyes. You want to see if they're ready to play. You want to see what type of energy they got, if they're ready. You want to see who wins the most quarters. Can we win the most quarters? Because that builds momentum also. And then the 4th thing is defensive efficiency. How many points can we hold them under? Now, how many points can we score, but how many points can we hold them under? And then the 5th and final thing is paint touches. Paint touches. How many paint touches can we get? All right. Those 5 things will help any team win the championship. Those 5 things will help any team win the championship. And if it's any player that you know, if you can get your players or your athletes to go back and watch this from the beginning, it's going to immediately help them start to get a championship mentality, and then they can create championship habits wherever they are, really just based off this video. So just go back and watch it, or just share it. Like share it with those. If you got value from it, share this video. If you're a coach and you like this value, you're going to get so much more. We're doing a coaches webinar on Wednesday evening. The link is in the title. You can go check it out. Listen, I hope y'all got this. I got to go get out the car and take care of my business. But listen, those 5 things, I want you to watch for it. Look at their eyes. As soon as the pregame come on, wherever you may watch the game tonight, look at their eyes and see if they're ready to play or if they're scared. And then look what type of energy they have. And then when the game start, at the end of the game, let's see, okay, they won that quarter. They won that quarter. Let's see who can guard. Who can guard 94 feet and get stops and up their defensive efficiency and bring the points allowed down. And then the 5th thing, let's see who can squeeze in that paint and get those paint touches. All right, Coach Carvel Bailey, I will holler at you guys a little bit later on. All right, peace.